You can see right from here, this is a swelling here, this is a swollen structure. This is where the thoracic duct would begin, and it travels all the way in the opposite direction of the aorta, alongside the inferior vena cava, so it goes all the way to towards the subclavian. You can see this is the left subclavian, that's the right subclavian. So it enters at the junction between the subclavian and the internal jugular. So ultimately, all of this lymph would be dumped into this. Now, thoracic duct is found in everybody. We all have it. The other duct is this one here, the right lymphatic duct. Okay, the right lymphatic duct is found only in 20% of us, so not everybody has it. So 1 in 5 would have it. That was one. So you don't need it actually. You can just empty all of this into this. The right lymphatic duct caters to the right side of the thorax, the right arm, and the right side of the face, neck, and head. So only this part, 1/4 of your body, you could say, or yeah, maybe 1/4 of the body by the right lymphatic duct, which means the thoracic duct is responsible for all of this and the lower extremities. All of this from here down and also the left side. That's all by the thoracic duct. That's why the thoracic duct is the major lymphatic duct. Okay. The thoracic duct is formed of 5 of those lymphatic trunks. Those names are written there. Did you see those? Lumbar trunk. Convert that to lumbar trunks. TRUNKs. Should be in bold. Lumbar trunks. Intestinal trunk. Should be just one trunk, not multiple. Intestinal trunk. Bronchomediastinal trunks. Subclavian trunks and jugular trunks. So let's try and locate these. At the inferior end, this is the thoracic duct beginning here. You can see 3 trunks joining there. You see these 3? 1, 2, and 3. The 2 on the sides are the lumbar trunks. The one in the middle is the single intestinal trunk. Okay, so one intestinal trunk that comes from the intestine. You can see all of this here, and the 2 are from the 2 legs. So these are the 2 lumbar. At the superior end of it, where the thoracic duct empties into the subclavian, you can see one trunk entering here. This is called the subclavian trunk. So this is the left subclavian trunk. This you can see here is the right subclavian trunk. Can you see it? This one here is the left jugular trunk. This one that empties from the head and neck. And this is the right jugular trunk. You can also see this one, you can see only from this side though. You see this one here on the inside? On the inside that comes and joins it here. Or you can see this one here. This is a right bronchomediastinal. Bronchos means something to do with the lungs, and mediastinum is this area. So all of these are the part of the bronchomediastinal trunk. Ultimately, it empties into the right lymphatic duct. So this is the bronchomediastinal. This is the right jugular. This is the right subclavian. This is the left subclavian, left jugular, and left bronchomediastinal. Okay. So those are the 5 trunks. Then the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are normally named based on the location. These are the inguinal lymph nodes. These are the axillary lymph nodes. These are the cervical lymph nodes. So those are 3 major areas where lymph nodes kind of form clusters. Another structure that's important is the sac that I was referring to earlier, the beginning of the thoracic duct. At the inferior end of the thoracic duct is this expanded swollen part called the cisterna chyli. Cisterna simply means a sac. Chyli refers to chyle. Chyle is lymph rich in fat. So when you absorb the digested lipids in the intestine, they are picked up into the lymphatic capillaries. There are specialized lymphatic capillaries called lacteals in the small intestine, because lipids fatty acids and glycerol cannot go into the blood capillaries. The basal membrane would prevent that. So they cannot be absorbed into the blood, instead they're taken to the lymph. So after a fatty meal, after it's digested, the lymph that is returning from the intestine would be packed with tiny particles called chylomicrons. We will learn that in the digestive system later on. Those chylomicrons are protein sacs filled with lipids on the inside. Lipids do not mix with water, so you got to pack it up in something that will keep water happy. So the proteins are hydrophilic, and the hydrophobic lipids are stored inside. So all of those packets of lipids will be carried by this lymph and that it appears somewhat milky white because of that, forms kind of an emulsion. So it's called chyle, C-H-Y-L-E. That's why this area is called the cisterna chyli, because this is the part that receives all of that chyle. So this is cisterna chyli, the swollen part. That's all you see on this model. Oh, vermiform appendix way down on the next page. This is a vermiform appendix. So you look for the large intestine. This is the ascending column of the large intestine. This is a cecum of the large intestine, and it's an extension of the cecum. So this is the part that goes in, called the vermiform appendix, or simply the appendix. On this model, you can also see the spleen. Can you spot the spleen? Where? Where do I go? Left, right? This one. This is a spleen. To locate the spleen, always look for the stomach. Okay? The bigger the stomach, the smaller the spleen, or the flatter the spleen. So you can see the spleen is pushed all the way to the left upper quadrant's corner because of the stomach. There's no room here because of all the liver. So this is only place for the spleen. So that's a spleen. Thymus is, can you see on that heart model sitting on top of the heart, that butterfly-shaped thing on the top? That is a thymus gland. Only shown on those 3 models with the base attached to it. Okay, now onto the tonsils. So tonsils are best seen on this. You can also see it on other models. So this is a pharyngeal tonsil. Remember, this is the respiratory system as well. External nair, right? Internal nair is wide opening. This is all the nasal cavity. This part here is the vestibule. This part, the vestibule, the nasal cavity. This is the superior nasal meatus, middle nasal meatus, inferior nasal meatus. Okay. Internal nair. This is the opening of the auditory tube, the pharyngotympanic tube, or the eustachian tube. This one. This is the pharyngeal tonsil. This is the nasopharynx. This is the pharyngeal tonsil. This is the uvula. This is the oropharynx. In the oropharynx, this is a palatine tonsil. And this is the lingual tonsil, right at the base of the tongue. So that's the lingual tonsil. This is the laryngopharynx. So those are the 3 tonsils on this. So palatine, lingual, and pharyngeal. You saw the spleen, you saw the thymus, you saw the vermiform appendix. And you saw the lymph node the other day. Did I show you the Peyer's patches? No? Can you pick up a slide from there, Peyer's patches? It would say ileum with Peyer's patches. Long sections. You can use your inbuilt microscopes. Your eyes have microscopes. You can see those. You see it? You don't know? That's what I did. See the dark purple things in between? They're huge. You don't even need a 4x. You can even see with a magnifying lens. So the moment you put it under 4x, they will stand out. They're big clusters of lymphocytes. So I'll show you one of those slides. You can also take a look at it. And the lymph node, you must see the lymph node slides. And onto the respiratory system. No?